All right, let's try to get this going here. I have to like mute my music and stuff. Hey, I don't know if anybody can hear me out there, but we are live now on YouTube and two different Yammer groups. I've got, for some reason, it's not showing my my camera. I'm not sure why I'm not seeing my camera for some reason, but we'll try to figure that out here. Oh, you know why? It's because I don't know. Maybe it's oh, is that gonna work? Let's see here. Let's see if okay, yeah, that works. Interesting. So YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. As such, viewers might experience buffering. We'll see. We'll see if that actually happens. So right now, let's take a look at some of these settings here. I've got on my screen here, we'll go to this view. I've got a Raspberry Pi hooked up, and I set up an Nginx server today on it, and I tested out configuring it so that it could go to 3 different locations. And the way that I've done that is with this Nginx with the RTMP module. And so I'm live right now on YouTube. You can see that on my screen. And then on Yammer as well, there's that. So Erin says that she can hear me. That's awesome, Erin. Thank you for checking it out. I'm also live on this other Yammer group. So I've got 2 Yammer groups going, as well as our Microsoft Champions group right now. That's where Erin is coming from. So another cool thing I can do is I'm using this tool here called H2R Graphics. And that one allows me to bring like graphics on screen. So I was able to, I could do like just a simple lower third. I can have that swipe across the screen. And yesterday I did a live event on Yammer, and I was using H2R Graphics off screen, of course, using a green screen that I was keying out. And I was able to copy and paste Yammer comments in there. So I would grab a comment from the screen, I would paste it into this box and hit show, and then you would get essentially this. You would get this, new Yammer comment says, "Hey, we can hear you," and then I would just paste in another comment as they come through. One of the coolest things about this is this H2R Graphics is the fact that I can do YouTube comments as well. So I really wish that I could get Yammer integrated into this functionality, because what's cool is you can have this little chat window open off to the side. I'm not showing it. Off to the side, you could have this little window open on your little control screen, like next to OBS. And then as the comments come in, I just did 2 comments myself, they pull from your video right here. So you just hit refresh when you want to see new comments. And then if you want to bring one on screen, you click on there and it says, "Hey, drop a comment if you want. That way I can test this out." And then if you want to, you can hide it to make it go away. And if I go down here to the options, I can control, where on the screen it is. I can move it up or down. I could also change how long it's on screen. I have it on there for 30 seconds right now, so that gives you enough time to basically throw a comment on screen, read it, and then start answering the question. And everybody who's watching can kind of figure out, like, what are you talking about, without having to go find the chat in YouTube. So I think that's a pretty cool thing, and it is seemingly working really well. So that's good. And I just hit refresh every once in a while, see new comments pop up. So if you're watching on YouTube right now, leave a comment there, and then I would be able to see it come up. I'm kind of interested to see how fast they come in as well. So let me check Yammer real quick here. And there's nobody new saying anything over on Yammer. I did this in like some test groups and our champions group, which is pretty small group. I doubt that anybody's really even seeing it, but I wanted to check this out. Now, what I'm thinking about doing is putting together a video next week. This is going to be an eye chart. It's going to be really hard to read this. But I'm thinking about picking up a Raspberry Pi to rebuild this on a proper, Raspberry Pi 4. Right now I'm doing it on a Raspberry Pi 3B. It's running pretty hot, I believe. I want to also see that. I have not dropped any frames in OBS, so that's really good. I'm connected to Ethernet. I'm on Google Fiber. I've got a gigabit upload. But what I thought was I could get the Pi 4, get a new case, and get all the stuff that you need, then go live on YouTube here, get a top-down camera, have the camera this way, and just go through putting the Pi together, installing everything that you need, configuring everything that you need to do, and then kind of that would package up as a guide for how to do this if you want to be able to stream to multiple Yammer groups, or you want to be able to stream to Microsoft Stream, Yammer Teams, or Microsoft Stream itself, as well as like YouTube or Twitch or Facebook or some other RTMP destination. You could do this multi-streaming thing. So I may do that next week, but these are kind of the notes that I've got here. I did get this from a couple guides online. So Aaron Parecki, I used his guide. I also found a Google Doc for how to do this, as well as a couple other things. And I was having trouble around Thanksgiving getting the Microsoft Stream portion to work until I found this tech community post. So I'll post that whenever I do like a proper video. But they said that basically you need to split the URL apart so that now it'll so that it can read that, because there's two pieces of a stream URL that are unique. There's the front part and the back part that are unique keys that get generated. So between these 4 different guides, I was able to get it finally working. It took several days of trying, but I've gathered up like all the parts that we need to get, as well as all the steps, all the commands we need to run on the Raspberry Pi so that we can get this thing configured, get it running, and then also go as far as doing the RTMP configuration. So this is that configuration file. You can add as many of these like push servers as you want. You could have localhost /YouTube, localhost / this Yammer group, that Yammer group, this Facebook group, multiple outputs. And then you configure each little output as an application itself. So you're coming into the RTMP server, and you're going to these individual destinations. Kind of organizes it a little bit better. And the big thing with Stream that I found out via that tech community post is this. You have to take the first part of the URL, and then you have to put a space in, and then do app equals, and then the second part of the URL, which it goes up to a :1935, which is the RTMP port. But then the second part of the URL is where it says /live and then has another key. You put the live /key into the second area. And then what you do is you grab, like it's really easy for stuff like YouTube, you just put your stream key in at the end of that, then it comes in that way. And then I've also got a list of helpful commands as well, so you can kind of see like, okay, is Nginx working? Is my config file okay? All of that stuff, if you need to kind of test things out. So this is pretty, ugly. It's like a brain dump right now of how to do this, but I'm going to organize it a little bit better. And I think next week I'm going to actually build one of these things and do it live so you guys can ask questions if you want to. And we're still going here on all 3 places. I haven't dropped any frames at all. This is going to kind of do a weird hall of mirrors. But yeah, 0 drop frames. I've been going here for what, 15 minutes? Yeah, 14:25. So it's been going pretty good so far. There's nobody on Yammer, nobody talking much on there. Melissa, yeah, on another Yammer group, she says that it is looking good from our test Yammer group, so that's pretty cool. There's Melissa's comment from Yammer. No comments from YouTube right now. There's a couple people watching, but not too many. Yeah, so the only other thing I want to do is see how the Raspberry Pi is holding up here. So let's take a look at the top command. And so the percentage of CPU, I mean, it's like not really doing anything on the CPU side. let's see, I've got, about a gig of memory. It's using about half of it, right? I don't know, that's 510 megs free, 52 used. I don't know if that's a percent, because that would be 50% is 500. But yeah, it seems like this thing is like basically idle, which is really good. Let me see what the CPU temperature is at right now. So here's the temperature measurement, 42.9 degrees Celsius. So that's really not bad at all. I don't think you can see it from here, but over in the corner right there, that's where my Raspberry Pi is right now. That's a Pi 3B, and it's in a little NES retro case, so it's got a fan in there. You probably can't hear the fan blowing; it's super quiet. But I think what I'm going to do is buy this other Raspberry Pi here. And I also put together an Amazon wish list so that if people want to build this themselves, they can do that as well. But I've got this this setup. I don't know why it's showing like Play-Doh. Get the cart out of the way. Whatever. But yeah, I've got this like Raspberry Pi multi-streamer kit, and I'm gonna buy the Pi from Micro Center because it's like $40 there. The SD card is cheaper on Amazon. The power adapter is cheaper on Micro Center. I'm gonna get that for like $6. And then I've already got a micro USB cable, but what I'm looking at is this case. I think is really interesting. I think I'm going to pick up this little case because it looks like it runs really good. I've seen the reviews where it cools really well and everything, which I don't think I really need that much cooling. But what I really like about it is this, for this reason here. It has this little board in it that redirects all the ports to the back. So that way I could have that sitting on my table. I'm not even showing my screen again. Jesus, terrible with this. But I could have it sitting there with all the cables coming out the back instead of like one coming out the side, one coming out the back. Because a Raspberry Pi by itself looks like this. So you have the power coming out of this USB-C port right here. Kind of zoom in on it. You have the power coming out of this port, and you have the Ethernet coming out of the top corner. So they're coming out of two different directions, and that's not great for having it sit nice and compact. So I'm going to get this case here so that I can have everything coming out of the back. And when you're done configuring it, all you need is USB-C and Ethernet. You don't need the HDMI. You don't need any other stuff hooked up to it. You just need power and network for it. If that all works out, I may buy another Pi and do a screen for it, because I saw for Aaron Parecki, he talked about doing a cool idea with showing the stream on a little like 7-inch monitor, a little 5-inch monitor. So I may do that where I have like the Pi behind it and a little monitor. That way I could have that on my desk showing me like what's coming in, and that would kind of give me something that I could monitor to make sure that like the live stream is still healthy, it's still working fine, and all of that. Plus it'd just be another thing to play with a little bit, but that's about it. I think with this, I'm just gonna leave it here. The Raspberry Pi is running really good. I still haven't dropped any frames. Nobody's really watching or anything like that, but it's looking pretty good. I really like it a lot, but yeah, I may have to run down to Micro Center here and put an event together for you guys next week so you can learn how to build one of these things. But without any further ado, I will talk to you all later. Hope you're having a good time, and I'll see you next week.